Hi, Cules. What if we dive into the circus that Real Madrid put on last night in the Champions League? Because, listen, the whole world seems to have gone into Madrid mode. Untouchable after that crazy match against OM that ended 2-1, but with a whiff of a dubious penalty that won't go away even with an abrasive sponge. Picture the scene. The Bernabeu roars as always, Xavi Alonso on the bench for his European debut with Madrid and wanting to impress. But what he takes away is an eternal debate over whether the referee and Fran Pelto were the heroes for the whites or the villains for the French. And no, I'm not exaggerating. The English press, which is used to pointing out favoritism where it hurts, exploded as if someone had stolen their 5 o'clock tea. We're going to break it all down step by step, because this isn't just a match, it's the umpteenth episode of the World vs. Madrid, where the merengues come out on top even if they miss a team penalty. Let's start from the beginning, which is always best for context. The 2025-26 Champions League kicks off with its new format, the single league, making every matchday a game of Russian roulette. Madrid, as the king of Europe with 15 cups to their name, hosts OM at home. The French arrive with Roberto de Servia at the helm, a tactician who knows what it's like to fight in the Premier League and brings a team with bite. Timo B, Jeffer Canagbia, Geronimo Rue in goal. It's not the Barça of old, but they're hungry. Madrid, for their part, lines up their stars. Bap, fresh from La Liga, Rodrigo, a very young Franco Mastantuono, making his debut as the youngest in the Champions League for the Whites. And a surprise, Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, just signed from Liverpool. Who would have thought? The Englishman, fresh from winning the Premier League, starts but only lasts as long as a lollipop at a school gate. He gets injured in the 5th minute and limps off. Dani Carvajal comes on, captain and veteran, but from then on, the match smells like trouble. OM doesn't waste time and opens the scoring in the 22nd minute. Blame a monumental error from Arda Güler, who loses the ball like a rookie in a street match, and B doesn't forgive. 0-1. The Bernabeu falls silent for a second, and Alonso, with that poker face from his Bayern days, adjusts the team. But Madrid reacts quickly. In the 28th minute, Dogvia brings down Rodrigo in the box. Penalty, clear as spring water. Bap, the French killer against his Gallic rivals, scores. 1-1. The match evens out, and Rue becomes the hero of the night for OM, saving up to 10 shots in the first half, including a bicycle kick from Mbappe that looks like it's straight out of a video game. Picture the Argentine keeper flying like Superman and the stadium applauding reluctantly, because, well, he's the opponent. Jokes aside, Rue saves OM from being down 3-0 at halftime, and De Servia celebrates on the bench as if he's already won the tie. But the second half is where things get messy. Madrid presses, but OM resists. Carvajal comes in, already heated because of his teammate's injury, and the match literally heats up. In the 70th minute, a scuffle in the box, shoves, shouts, and Carvajal goes after Rue. The keeper goes down as if he's been hit with a sledgehammer, and VAR steps in. Pelto reviews and pulls out a straight red for the Madrid captain for a headbutt. Rue exaggerated. The keeper denies it later. It was real. He hit me in the face. But watching the replays, it looks more like a brush than an attempted murder. Madrid is down to 10, and you think, that's it. OM will come back. Well, no. In the 79th minute, a controversial moment. Vinicius sends in a cross. Facundo Medina tries to clear it. The ball brushes his hand, which is glued to his body. Pelto, after consulting VAR, awards a penalty. Mbappe, ice cold, converts. 2-1, and Madrid defends tooth and nail until the end. Now, the heart of the matter. De Servia's reaction explodes in the press conference. It's shameful. That was never a penalty. After the match against Real Sociedad, everyone was talking about the injustice against Madrid, and now the French coach, who knows English football well, compares it to what he experienced at Brighton. Decisions that tip the scales, and the English press isn't staying quiet. The Guardian headlines, Bap gives Madrid victory with 2 penalties, but controversy overshadows Alonso's debut. They talk about how the second penalty is dubious under the rules, recalling that the handball must be deliberate or extend the body. And there, Medina seems like an innocent man in a storm. Cristina Unquel, a rules expert and former FIFA referee, on CBS Sports Golazo, nails him to the wall. It's one of the worst handball decisions I've seen in the Champions League. VAR should have called the referee to the monitor. Jan Joy, another analyst, adds, OM feels robbed. Pelto turned the match. BBC Sport isn't left out. BAP scores 2 penalties as 10-man Madrid hold on, but the second is controversial. They mention how Madrid has won all 4 of their matches against OM in Europe, but this time with an asterisk, according to the Telegraph. Always sharp, they publish an analysis saying that favoritism toward Madrid in Europe is a classic, and this penalty confirms it. They recall the history. Madrid with 63 penalties in their favor in the Champions League, surpassing Bayern. Coincidence? The English press, which has seen up close how VAR fails in the Premier League, sees parallels and explodes. If this happened in England, there would be resignations. Even in The Athletic, which is more neutral, they talk about a controversial penalty that saves Madrid and highlight how Carvajal faces a 3-match ban for the red, but the penalty overshadows everything. And it's not just England, the world unites. In France, L'Equipe screams robbery at the Bernabeu, with De Servi on the front page. In Spain, as defends, just penalty. Madrid always suffers. But Alfonso Perez Burrell, a former elite referee, is harsh on Medina. That was not a penalty. J. Jordi, the ultimate anti-Madrid figure, tweets, robbery against OM. All of Europe sees it. Even on Reddit, entire threads about Madrid's constant robberies in the Champions League, recalling Juventus in 2018 or Bayern in 2017. The world versus Madrid, it's not like the Whites have a magnet for controversy and always come out unscathed. With humor, you'd say Pelto, who has already refereed Madrid and given them blows like the 3-0 to Arsenal, this time wanted to balance the scales or tip them completely. Let's talk about the referee, because Pelto is key. Bosnian, 41 years old, an international since 2021, he has refereed Madrid twice in the Champions League, a 1-0 win at Leipzig and a 3-0 loss to Arsenal. During the match against the Gunners, there were Madrid complaints about not sending off Rice or a dubious offside. Now, in his 3rd match, the game is classified as high risk due to the Ultras. The bad Gones of Lyon are teaming up with Ultra Sur against OM. Security is reinforced, but the focus is on VAR. Why wasn't Pelto called to the monitor for the second penalty? Unquell explains, the rules state that if the hand is in a natural position, it's not a penalty. Here, the arm didn't move, it was glued to the body. The world sees favoritism, and the English press, which criticizes VAR in their own league, uses this to say, in the Champions League, Madrid always wins the refereeing lottery. Mbappe, with his 2 penalty goals, reaches 57 in the Champions League, 7th all-time. But the debate is, did Madrid deserve to win like this? Alonso, in the press conference, is diplomatic. We showed the spirit of champions, but we need to improve. He acknowledges Carvajal's red card as deserved, though he celebrates the penalty. The Englishman Alexander-Arnold, injured early, is another drama, with tests pending. And Madrid is already starting to worry about their right-back situation. The youngest, Mastenchuono, the 18-year-old kid, shines with a shot off the post and decisive passes, showing that the future is white, but the perceived robbery against OM overshadows everything. And if you're already freaking out about this, subscribe to the channel, because what's coming is even stronger. Analysis of how Madrid always gets away with it in Europe, with more details from the press and global reactions that you won't find anywhere else. Let's continue with the impact. OM, who dreamed of a dream start under De Servi, leaves with 0 points and complaints. The Italian coach, who left Brighton for this, sees parallels. In England, at least, they discuss things. Here, they protect the big club. UEFA is silent for now, but the disciplinary committee will review Carvajal's red card. Up to 3 matches, and Madrid travels to Kazakhstan against Kairat without him, it's going to be tough. The world against Madrid intensifies. In Italy, Gazzetta dello Sport recalls the 2018 robbery against Juve with Buffon sent off for a ghost penalty. In Germany, Bild says, Madrid, kings of VAR. The English press leads. The Daily Mail publishes, the penalty that outrages Europe, with memes of Pelto as a white puppet. Let's talk history. Madrid has been accused of favoritism since the 1950s with Franco and all that, but today, it's more subtle. Economic power, signings, aura. In this match, the first penalty was clear, but the second. Medina barely grazes the ball with his hand during a natural clearance. Rule 12. Handball is punishable if it's part of the body. Experts like Burrell call it inappropriate. VAR, operated by a neutral team, fails to intervene. Pressure from the Bernabeu, possibly. The English press, skeptical of UEFA, explodes. The Times editorializes, "We need an impartial VAR, not one for the giants." On social media, the hashtag robbed from OM trends with 500k mentions. De Servi tweets indirectly. OM fans symbolically burn white jerseys. Madrid, with 3 points, leads their mini-group, but the shadow remains. Alonso, ex-Bayern, knows that in the Champions League, there's no mercy. Next match against Kairat, but with the controversy fresh. Kules, we stay in the eye of the cyclone with the echo of the final whistle at the Bernabeu still ringing, and the football world on the verge of a nervous breakdown over Madrid's 2-1 against OM. The penalty controversy with Medina continues to fuel debates. And if you're already stunned by how Madrid comes out unscathed from these messes, hold on tight, because we're diving even deeper into the mechanics of this match, the non-stop reactions, and the details that make this encounter a Champions League-worthy saga. Here, we don't repeat. We deepen with that touch of serious humor that doesn't clash, because it's football, but also an epic drama where Madrid, as always, seems to have a script written in their favor. Let's start with the post-match atmosphere, which is boiling. In the corridors of the Bernabeu, French journalists surround OM players like detectives looking for clues to a crime. Jeffer Kanagbia, who committed the first, clear penalty, walks out with his head down but doesn't stay silent. We played an enormous match, but against Madrid, there's always something that holds you back. I won't say more. His look says more than his words. Pure frustration. Meanwhile, in the white dressing room, Xavi Alonso gathers his players for a brief but intense speech. According to insider sources, because there's always a sneaky mic, the Basque coach insists on staying calm and not feeding the noise. But calm? When the whole world is tweeting #robbed from him like it's the end of the world, calm is the last thing there is. Let's talk about the fans, because they're the soul of this chaos. In the stands of the Bernabeu, the ultras chant as if they've won the final, but on social media, OM fans are furious. On X, a French user with thousands of followers posts an edit of Pelto in a white Madrid jersey with the crest, captioned, "Honorary referee of the Bernabeu." Another, more creative, edits the penalty scene with suspense music and text, "The hand that changed the Champions League." The memes don't stop, and even Kules, who didn't play but are always watching, join in on the mockery. A viral tweet from Barcelona says, "Madrid doesn't need 11. With the referee, they're already too many." Jokes aside, French forums like SFood are flooded with comments demanding UEFA sanctions, while on the European football subreddit, a thread titled "Madrid and its magic VAR" racks up 10,000 upvotes in hours. But it's not just social media and jokes. There's a tactical depth worth noting, because the match wasn't just penalties and red cards. De Servi's OM showed a brave game plan, high pressing, tight lines, and quick transitions led by B and Pierre-Emile Gerg. In the first half, they managed to neutralize a Madrid that, despite dominating possession, seemed predictable without Vinicius starting. Alonso opted for a 4-3-3 with Canono as a false right winger, seeking creativity, but the kid, though talented, was overwhelmed by the intensity of Adrien Rabiot, who played as if he wanted to prove to the world that leaving Juve was a mistake. Rabiot, by the way, nearly scored in the 55th minute with a header that Lunin deflects with a feline reflex save. If that ball had gone in, it would be a different story. Madrid, for their part, had moments of brilliance but also flaws. Bap, beyond the penalties, had a mixed night. He attempted 5 dribbles, succeeded in 2, and his teammates didn't always read his movements.